Shocking news as another major American university reveals a long history of cheating in order to win a game. A major American sporting event fewer people are watching every time it rolls around, and a major American athlete thinks he deserves his paycheck after beating up his wife. Whew. Welcome to the world of stick and ball, and a pleasure to welcome back the co-host of the morning weekday show on Sports Talker 790 The Zone in Miami, Florida. Joy Taylor joins us. Joy, good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Let's go ahead and get started at North Carolina. Here it comes, 18 years. The university now admits that they have been basically fixing grades. But Joy, is the thing that catches you that catches me is when they come in and say, our investigation does not directly implicate coaches or athletic administration in the scheme. Come on, do they really think that people are that stupid? I guess perhaps maybe what they might think is the Skype is frozen. So anyway, we'll get Joy back here in just a second because I do want to get her on this. In case you haven't followed up the story on this, it's the University of North Carolina, 18 years. The report was released this week saying that academic advisors in North Carolina's athletic department colluded with a manager in the African and Afro-American Studies Department for student athletes to take classes to boost their GPAs and keep them eligible in their respective sports. Most of it's football, but then again, a lot of it in North Carolina is basketball. The classes took place from 1993 to 2011. They were overseen by a lady by the name of Debbie Crowder. She is the manager in the African and Afro-American Studies Department. Later, she was the department chairman. They allowed a student, and this is where it just gets to the point where, frankly, we've heard this before a million times, a student could write a paper of at least 10 pages rather than attend lectures or meet with professors. All right, Skype went down on us right now, so we got Joy Taylor. She's joining us by telephone. So, Joy, I'm going to go ahead. I got to start it out again, but I'm going to ask you that question about North Carolina. Do they really think that we as the public and people who know anything about college sports are so stupid to think that not everybody was involved somewhere down the line?
Yeah, I'm sorry about the Skype.
No worries.
I think so. I think that they do think that everyone is pretty naive about it. I mean, that's a long time to have a scandal like this going on. You know, it's not a couple months or a couple years. I mean, 18 years. It's, you know, a child to an adult. It's a long time for the coaches to have no idea. And for it to be going on with this many student athletes, yeah, I'm not buying that at all.
But this is not something that's new and rare, and we should point out that 18 years is something, but in order to find out and finding out that a major college is cheating and fixing grades in order to win games, we shouldn't be shocked by this, should we?
No, absolutely not. I mean, think about it. Think about some of the athletes that have gone on to play professional sports, and there's certainly plenty of very intelligent contributors to society, and then they're also not. And you wonder, you know, how did you graduate from this college? How did you balance, you know, going to class all day long like a regular student, and then traveling with the team, and then also training all year round, and then on top of that, study tables? I mean, how did you do that? These classes are hard. I played college sports for a year. I ran track and field for a year, and I was exhausted. I can't imagine having to balance all of that with, say, a football, you know, scholarship as well. It's really hard to imagine that it doesn't go on at all kinds of schools. I mean, certainly it goes on in high school. Why would it not go on in college?
Don't we need to take out of this as well that they're not only helping to put players out on the field, but by fixing the grades, the University of North Carolina for 18 years has helped to put badly educated and even in some cases, let's be very honest, stupid people out on the streets supposedly with college educations that they didn't earn?
Sure. I mean, there are plenty of people who earned college educations outright who are not still you could consider to be stupid. I mean, I guess that's a relative term, but you know, it really is a black eye on the school that you have people out there who didn't earn their education sporting a North Carolina degree. So, I mean, it really is a bad reflection on the school. But you have to remember that money makes the world go round, and football brings in a lot of money, athletics bring in a lot of money, and you got to have your star players on the field or on the court. And if it means you got to put them in a class that may not necessarily be a class at all, that's what you got to do. I mean, certainly no one agrees with this, but to be surprised by it, I'm sure it goes on in a lot of schools.
All right, let's rip through a couple of other things here this week on Stick and Ball. First game of the 2014 World Series this year drew 12.2 million viewers. Every single year we hear that the ratings are going down to baseball. Joy, why doesn't anybody watch baseball anymore?
It's so long. It's so long. Oh,
come on, seriously? Is that really it? It's so. Are you gonna fall back on the it's slow and long excuse, really.
It is. I mean, well, listen, I'm not terribly interested in the World Series this year because the team that I follow is not in it. So, I mean, it makes it difficult. And then you also have football going on right now. I feel bad for baseball. It's going up against football. Football is such a monster. It's so huge. It's really hard to go up against football now. And baseball is an aging sport. I mean, they have to do a lot of things to make it more appealing to young people, and it being really long is not helping because everybody's attention span is getting shorter and shorter by the seconds. The more instant gratification that we have in this society, the harder it is to sit there and wait through a 4-hour game.
What do you think of like 3 hours? 3 hours, 2 hours? What would be right then for the low attention span folks?
Well, the other thing that baseball is going against is that the season is so unbelievably long. I mean, there's so many games. There are literally could go by 2 weeks and not watch your team, miss every single game and start watching again, and they could be still, headed to the playoffs. Like, that doesn't make it interesting. I think that basketball is going up against the same thing. They're talking about getting less games and shortening the games so that the regular season can be more interesting. So I think it's several things. People just get sick of it after a while if their team's not in it. It's a long season, and then you have a long playoffs, and then you have the long games. It's a lot to demand from people.
Come on, we old white guys. Come on, we old guys. We love that. Come on, that's all we love. We just love doing those games all the time.
That and
going
golf,
to baseball.
you guys are set.
That's us, exactly. See, there you go. It's just us and golf. We're set. 60 seconds left. Last shot. Ray Rice is filing a grievance with the NFL. Would you, as a woman, and we've talked about this before, would you go see any game that had Ray Rice playing on the team?
I probably would, because if my team was playing in it, I would not boycott my team in order to not watch Ray Rice. And also, despite the fact that I find what he did to be despicable and reprehensible, we do have a justice system in this country, and you pay your debt to society, and there's been plenty of people who have done that, and I'm certainly not forgiving Ray Rice. I'm not going to boycott an entire sport because of one bad egg.
Do you think he should get a job back? Do you think he should play again?
Well, I don't think he will, because who wants the headache? I mean, I certainly wouldn't if it was my business, but they will have to probably reinstate him because Roger Goodell, I believe, knew about the tape, or if he didn't see it, he knew the existence of the tape, which will not play out well in the investigation with the Players Union, and the Players Union has to defend him. That's just the way it goes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have one. Here we go. More story, and it continues. Joy Taylor, co-host of the morning show, 790 a.m. In Miami, Florida. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, take care. Up next, when even the cops don't agree on what to do about marijuana. It's next on MidPoint.